Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Challenge 41 Wrap Up Podcast for episode 9. I am Brian Cohen. With me, as always, my co-host, Ali Lasher. Ali, how are you?
First thing, don't say anything about Survivor because I haven't watched it. Not that you were going
Okay.
to.
I will not.
You got to prioritize the challenge. So I'm like, la 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 la.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now that we got that out of the way, I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. I'm excited for the second phase of this season. I am not excited for what happened in the first phase of this episode, but I'm excited for the second phase of this episode. So there's some things to discuss.
Yeah. By first phase, second phase, do you mean like the first 50 minutes and then the last 10? Is that the two phases?
I mean, I would say the last 25-ish. I mean, I feel like they left a good chunk of time post daily to get into it a little bit, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I will say as a credit to the powers that be, the editors in this case, about what I'm going to say, because I think a lot of valid criticism is going to be thrown at production by both of us in the next, I don't know, 20 to 300 minutes.
Yeah.
But seeing how the pairs shake out, the stories of the pairs were really, for the most part, planted along the way in what I think is a great way. I would say at least 50% of the pairs, I'm like, that makes sense. We've kind of seen the foundation of them. We've seen the dynamics of them working together without it being really like hit you over the head obvious. Yep. And I think, from a story arc perspective, that was done expertly. The flip side of that is I didn't need so much, like I would say 30 minutes dedicated to hypothetical discussion of telling us who possibly their pairs were going to be, because I thought, honestly, a lot of them made sense and the foundations were, as I said, laid along the way. So I guess that was more of a criticism, but I really mean this as a compliment to the way the last 8 or so episodes have gone.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed getting a sneak peek into how everyone's brains were operating, and it gives a good sense of like people's perceptions of people. Even the Jonna thing, I think, was at least a little more understandable, because I feel like for us just watching her, like she's coming off a couple All-Star great appearances, like obviously 2 wins, is doing great, and like she comes in late here, but we think, oh, this Jonna is great. So we're questioning why no one wants her, and I feel like at least the show presented a decent understanding of like what the house perception of her, and you at least, especially like I like the perception the confessional Gabe had. Like I understand like Jonna's like, I watched her be great, but like that I'm not getting that version, and at least acknowledging that at least puts us into a better understanding of where people might think of her. So I don't know. I kind of got a good sense of where everyone thinks everyone stands. So I thought it was helpful.
Yeah, I think that's a common thing. It's been common this season where like the audience perception does not match the house perception. Even with someone like Olivia, where she was crying last week or the week before about people not wanting her, and we can understand it based on like maybe some shaky relationships in the house from an early sort of her versus the Bananas Brigade situation. But like Olivia is one of the strongest women vets in the house, so like it's a little bit confusing for people to not want her to have stress about that. Same thing with Jonna. I mean, she comes into the house very last minute, honestly, for these newts to have such a strong negative opinion of her. All I could really trace it to is she comes in loyal to Derek C, who had not done himself any favors socially. So, maybe just her like riding for Derek in that last vote against the house. And then, previously her just really only being linked with Derek C, and he wasn't that well linked in the house. Maybe that hurt her. And D also, it's right. We get CT's confessional a few weeks ago saying like, not even confessional, I think it was a conversation with Olivia saying like D's not really that much of a competitor from the Survivor community, right? We think D is an awesome competitor, and it bears fruit. We see CT pick Tay over D when he had the option. So I guess we did need like the breakdown, but again, I think a credit to the edit is like a lot of those things, besides probably, right, the Jonna one, were like given to us. I mean, it's so funny to be podcasters about a TV show and be like, wow, the edit really like told the story. But sometimes it's a challenge. That is something to note.
Yeah, and I mean, for it's like to get like they had to tell like what are there 11 or 12 pairs, so they had to tell like a lot of stories. They're like I feel like a lot of these pairs we could have been like, oh, why are these two together? That feels kind of weird. And outside of like Leroy in America, like I don't think they've spoken the entire season. All the other ones, there were some bits and pieces of them either working together previously that they were highlighted, or their conversations we saw highlighted. So, yeah, I think they did a good enough job of like landing a plane on these pairs. And now, of course, come the preview, it's like who knows if these pairs actually are the pairs, because now you could like freaking stake claims to people. The challenge can't get out of their own way, just letting things be. But at least to this point, I feel like they did a decent job of like building in narratives for these pairs before they were even created.
Let's I hope close the loop on Justice for Lekka. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it'll be said every episode till the end of the finale, but we get sort of one last look at the impact of Justice for Lekka on CT when he returns to the house to like before the lock-in starts. And Jeremy says Justice for Lekka will not end until CT goes home. Are you buying this? Like, I really just think it's like a reason to target one of the stronger people. And I have to eat crow on what I said last week about CT. I think I said after Turbo, it's sort of like a toss up. I think it'd be reasonable to pick Leroy over CT, is I think what I said.
Yep.
Obviously, I eat my words with his performance in the mini final, which we'll get to. But just in general, like, I do think actually these men are threatened by CT, and probably they should be, no matter what shape he's in. Should I believe what you were saying last week, or at least like, I think it was like somebody has good like return equity if they pick CT as a partner. But I'm back all in on CT as the GOAT, and I'm tired of this Justice for Lekka narrative. And nobody is a bigger fan of Lekka than I am, but people need to just say they're threatened by this big man, because I'm tired of hearing it as an excuse.
Yeah, I think after this week, I think it's done. I think, I mean, look, he's with Tay now. There's a lot of other dynamics going on. Like, is it going to be justice for Tay if you throw in CT and Tay goes home with CT? Like, come on. So, like, I think that narrative was like a few week thing. It kind of gave us some credence as to why everyone wanted CT in the previous week. It's done now. I think we can put that to bed. And I think we can, move forward with where CT is standing now, which is, I think, now looking at I think him with Tay, a very formidable pair.
See, I think Tay, while I understand the pick, and I'm not saying Tay's a bad pick from the social perspective, Tay's a terrible pick for CT. They've thrown in Tay. Tay is like clinging to scraps of the Olivia Adrian alliance, which doesn't have much social capital in the house. Obviously, we'll see how these like paired votes go, but to lock in with a person who people have already thrown in when they've thrown you in and have a quote unquote reason to, I don't know. It's not, I'm not saying he shouldn't have picked her. He should have picked D over her, but I think they are in the top half of people who would be eligible to go into an elimination.
Yeah, that certainly could be the case. I think CT though, I think CT works best with someone who looks up to him and wants to use him as a role model and like guide him through the gate, and like that's just not D. I think that would be Tay. I was excited when they were paired up episode 1, so like I'm really excited now that Tay's kind of proven herself a little bit, and so I don't even know if she'll be like that much of a target necessarily. I think there are now like bigger fish to fry. Like some of these other pairs are more threatening. I think we're going to see people do that a little bit more now that things are kind of more locked in. So I don't know. I don't know if they're as threatening or as easily picked as maybe it might seem.
Yeah, and we'll get more into the picks of it. But yeah, this is Big Tay, right? Like he obviously thrives with a big T. He's won with like somebody who is underestimated, but just like a good endurance person like Amber B, right? So like this is sort of new era CT's MO and someone he works well with. And yeah, as you point out, that was the storytelling, right? Like it's very memorable when CT and Tay were paired together because it was really a reversal. It was CT sucking and Tay being the supportive partner to CT. So I'm not unhappy with the pick. I just worry about them a little bit more socially than you do. But I was worried about you watching this episode yet again, because Theo says something that has to be a self-deprecating joke, but is just not played in the edit to me as a self-deprecating joke. I don't know.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I thought the same thing. I kept waiting for like the cut the camera, like the Jim Halpert like shrug or something of the acknowledgement where he says, I am so happy now. It's an individual daily. I don't have to be hampered by crappy partners.
Insane.
It's an insane line, and it's not like we're watching Theo stink from the outside of like, oh, what's going on with Theo? He's not doing well. Like it's talked about in the house, and not only talked about in the house, it's talked about with his girlfriend. Like she's pointing out how much he's been horrible this season. So yeah, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say this was a self-deprecating joke. But then, like in the daily, when he's doing well, he's like, see, I just needed to not be with a partner, and now I'm crushing it. So now I'm thinking like he actually does feel that way. So I don't know what to make of it. Like, but he does well here. So now I don't know. Like, he's what is it, eating onions, spotting dimes. Like, I don't know what to make of Theo right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when people think CT threw that challenge, the same question applies to Theo. Like, why would Theo turn it on now if he had been able to turn it on the whole time? Like, I don't know. Like, but Theo, I can't take Theo.
It's wild. And then I'm just like still so confused about the daily. Like that's the one like bright spot of like this, the waste of 30 minutes that was this daily. Of like just watching him do well. And like this is Theo from War of the Worlds. Like what's happening? Why is he like leading? He's like a pace setter. Like yeah, he's still not great at the puzzles, but I don't really understand that chain puzzle, so I'm gonna give him a break on that one. But like he was doing very well. So like, I don't know what's been going on with him this whole season, but who knows?
Yeah, it is confusing. It's like he just learned about the points today.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't for the life of me understand because the way his points were set up is he could have only improved his pickage above Derek Kay and Leroy. And at that point, all of the other women who were eligible to pick him would have already picked. So there was really nothing he could have done that, like, it wouldn't have mattered at all except for to look like a better partner.
Yeah,
and
which
it
is
did
something
work,
good.
I guess.
Yeah,
He
I
did
mean
get
that would.
picked over that.
Yeah, I mean that would be a big plus. Like if one of the like if one of the stronger rookie women wanted to be with Theo, but I think season worth of performance kind of trumped whatever he was gonna have. Yeah, what's gonna happen here.
All right, so let's talk about some of the drunk antics before we get to the meat of the episode. Or I don't know, it's really like tofurkey. It's like a fake out meat.
Right.
But so first I thought like they're really again making such a meal out of Nany and Will's hooking up for like again the challenge to not really show a hookup in a material way in a long time. They sort of justify it when they explain like Will and Nany like getting on the outs and like not wanting to pick each other, but I don't know, like something's just not sitting right with me with like how much of a production they're making of like Nany and Will going into the bathroom. And again, like I miss those days of the challenge. Like I'd be fine if that was like sort of equally applied to everyone. I just don't know why newly single Nany is like having her hookups blown up more than anyone else, including rookies in past seasons.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, tinfoil. I don't know. Should I get a tinfoil hat? Like, do you think production? Like, is your view is production clowning Nany? Like, is this like them siding with Casey in the breakup? Like, well, look at like Nany going back to her old ways post Casey, or like what do you think production's doing?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's more of a clown on Will. I saw someone, it might have been in the Facebook group writing about like actually how weird it is that like Nany is now single out of a relationship with a woman and is now with a man again. And they're like making it such a huge deal. Like, I don't have any like, I can't like put an agenda on production. Like, I don't know. Like, I miss the hookup stuff. So I think it's like fun to make a big deal when these hookups happen. I just don't understand why now. Why now?
Yeah.
Why this hookup?
What is that from again?
Legally Blonde. Why now? Why this sperm?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. It is odd because I mean, look, maybe they're more out in public. More people are more private. Like they go to the bathroom to hide everything. Nany's just like, I mean, Nany and Will are just like, let's just go to the bunk bed and we'll just like give everyone a show. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say what is prompting them to highlight this hookup because as people have come out, they've pointed out other hookups that have happened, been prior seasons recently. So I don't know why they wouldn't highlight those.
And now maybe it is like influencing the game, like Nani's talking about it and like trying to comfort him. And sure, if the hookup wasn't there, Nani like and that Will conversation would make no sense, right? Like why is Nani like trying to
Sure.
be there for Will or whatever? So maybe like the Olivia and Jay on the bus thing never really bared fruit in the game. Or these other like random one-off hookups haven't had an impact on the game, but yeah. We have to talk about deja vu because like and speaking of like old days with old hookups, I feel like we watched a conflict from All Stars 5 occur all over again with Aneesa and Ashley. And I'm just speculating, but once again, I think alcohol might be the enemy here. I don't know, like Ashley's ego might be the enemy, but it felt very familiar.
It did, and this was classic Smashly because not only is she just like wildly talking crap about Aneesa, I think so. The phrase she uses is Aneesa would have no chance to win. I have no chance to win. Aneesa has less of a chance to win but Aneesa thinks she has the athletics to win, and that's like not at all the case. Now,
well, she says this to her. Like this is a conversation
it's
between
weird. It's
Aneesa and
both. She
Ashley,
says
which
it.
is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. She says it to Aneesa, and also like to other people with Aneesa in the room where I don't know if she knows like she's there. So it's very bizarre. But then Ashley's like, "Oh, there goes Aneesa taking things out of context." And it's like, what context could that be? Like a compliment or like anything other than a horrific diss in? But it's also the type of thing where it's like, I don't think Aneesa could probably win either to a degree. But I don't like maybe Ashley could. I don't know. But the way Ashley is like when she's confronted about it, that's what confuses me the most. Is like she's again like saying they took it out of context. I wasn't like meaning it like that. And then they get gaslighting Aneesa to the fact that like you shouldn't be offended by the fact that I'm saying you can't win a final. That was like very bizarre, but also classic Smashly.
Yeah, I mean, Ashley is one of the most toxic people on the challenge, past, present, and future. So, like, and I'd say that to her face. Like, I'd be like I'd take an Ashley approach and I'd say it to her face. Here's the thing: for people who didn't had the pleasure of not watching All Stars 5, I'm sure I enjoyed it. Ashley and Aneesa were paired, and they weren't even really like rivals, but they were paired. And then they had a fight on the show where Aneesa like made fun of Ashley's accent, and Ashley had a meltdown about it and said like it's really offensive, like people put her down about her southern accent, she's really sensitive about it. And Aneesa immediately shifted into taking responsibility, apologizing, wanting to work it out. And something that actually did get taken out of context, Aneesa completely owned and apologized for and made right with her about, acknowledging that she didn't realize she was sensitive about it. In the world where Ashley didn't think Aneesa would be sensitive about having someone look her straight in the eye and be like, you're delusional that you think you can win this game, and call her big multiple times and double down on it. Like, she had the opposite reaction of Aneesa diffusing the situation in All Stars 5, continued to take it up a notch and escalate further. And sure, from like a reality TV perspective, like they just don't make them like Ashley anymore in a certain respect. But from a life perspective, thank God, because I was really inspired actually what Aneesa was saying. And certainly you and I have been guilty of coming on here and saying like Aneesa's drawing dead, or this person's drawing dead, or they probably can't win a final. We've said about Leroy, right? We've said it about a lot of people. I don't think it's true about Leroy, but I love that Aneesa is coming here and owning it and saying like, for Ashley to be someone who would die in a bad way to have my body, she is made uncomfortable by me having confidence and strength in my own body and my own power. And like, who is Ashley and who are we to say that Aneesa cannot win a challenge? Like, I was really inspired by Aneesa's response here. And, she just gave her the business and walked away. And I applaud Aneesa, as I did in her response in All Stars 5.
What's also so fun about this is, well, maybe fun. I don't know if that's the right word. But normally after rival seasons, you get people together that hate each other and they come together and they're friends. Well, the funny thing here is Aneesa and Ashley, when they came together, as you pointed out, Roberts, they're like, I guess they don't like each other. I don't know. They were just, I think even their package was like, Aneesa and Ashley have never worked together before. Now they have to be paired together. Well, how will they do it? So maybe the move is not to pair people who hate each other. It's to pair people together who like sort of don't like each other, maybe, and then they hate each other after the fact. Because now it makes more sense than ever for Ashley and Aneesa to be paired together in a rival season. Before it almost makes you think that this something like is there like a time travel move where this was filmed first and then like, oh, we got to pair them together for All Stars 5, because it made no sense for that. But now it would make sense. So maybe for the next iteration of All Stars, yeah, or rivals, yeah, pair people together that don't have much interaction, and then they're going to come out of the season hating each other. Or maybe that's just a Smashly thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just a Smashly thing because look, I don't like more people than you even know. Like you can't like less people than I do, fewer people. But most adults can work with people they don't love. There's $1 million on the line, they're on television, and they can hold it together. Like many rivals. I think that's what unites rivals is like, well, we have to work together because there's money and advancement on a television show. And I don't hate anyone as much as I care about money for my family or my career or whatever. Like Ashley genuinely hates people more than she cares about her own reputation or winning money, as demonstrated by her willingness to snatch $1 million from Hunter Cohen Barfield. So like, like that makes Ashley a great fit for reality television. But I don't think a lot of people would hold a grudge to a rival season the way that Ashley would and could.
She's one of one.
Yes.
That is for sure.
And the other thing is like Aneesa is completely annihilating Ashley in points. Aneesa has 30 points. Ashley has 13 points. So like to the extent these performance points mean anything, which like they should in the context of potential finals, Ashley, like you can't say shit to anyone. Like you can't even talk to Theo. Like
this was a great fight for not only like an old school challenge version of it, but also for just watching people in the background of them enjoying it, which was, it was a big highlight. America was just right there. This was like probably one of her first big challenge fights, just like be able to sit in the background. I think there were a couple shots of D in the background as well. I'm sure all these people very much enjoying watching the vets go at each other. So it was a great fight for background watching.
Yeah, they were like stunned. I mean, I have to imagine, like, as a fan of the show, to watch like two legends of the drama game, Aneesa and Ashley, go at it verbally, of course.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they were stunned because it just is crazy to see two adults have like that big of a verbal fight, or if it was just like, Dee later says one of her highlights of being on the challenge is like meeting the vets, and it was intimidating at first, whatever. Like, it's just watching the challenge live in front of you. Like, that would probably be my face too.
Yeah, it's getting the uncut version of the episode. Just like, it's like, getting screeners, but in live time. So that sounds like fun.
What was a little less fun was, for me, watching Jonna go door to door, selling herself like a vacuum cleaner, like whatever salesman used to sell door to door. I was convinced, and I crunched numbers. Jonna, I guess I have to thank Jonna for, I have some facts and figures I crunched that I'll present a little bit later. And what spurred that is the way Jonna was campaigning for absolutely anybody to want to pick her. I was like, are the numbers not going to work out? And whoever doesn't get selected is going to be automatically eliminated? Spoiler alert, no, that wasn't happening. Like, why was Jonna so desperate to campaign to everyone?
Yeah, I think it was a pride thing, right? I think if you're going around, you're seeing everyone else pitch themselves to each other. Everyone's like, oh, I want to be with this person. I want to be with this person. I'm sure Jonna just wanted to be wanted. Like, she wanted someone to ask her to the prom, wanted her to ask, want to go to the dance. Like, I think she just wanted someone to be like, yeah, I want 2-time All-Star winner Jonna. I think we can go crush it. But, coming in late, I'm sure that was also still kind of like a weird, like, it doesn't really feel part of the season. Just wanted, she was looking for a home. She's looking for a buddy.
Part of me is like, I don't know. I just think Jonna is such a smart, social, strategic player that I'm like, maybe we never saw her talk to Gabe, right? Like, maybe she wasn't telling people like, I don't want Gabe, but maybe she was campaigning to every other person to try to get selected by somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, it probably wasn't her first pick, but I think Gabe is kind of a good person for her to be with. Like, she need it's a physically strong person. Everyone saw what Gabe did to Bananas in elimination, so it's like a very terrifying person to risk your game going up against if you get something similar. So it's not like the worst pick, but for that's what we were talking about going all in or going throughout the seasons. Like for the vet women, there's not a lot of duds amongst the picks. Like the rookie men are all very strong. So for Ashley, Nani, Aneesa, Avi, all of them were going to end up with a pretty strong guy as a pair. So there was no dud amongst this group.
Yeah, I also think in general, even though the vet men are sort of, and Adrian even says this in the episode, weaker, perceived to be weaker than just the whole of the vet women. I don't know. I think it was really a race to get the best picks in the first 3 or 4 picks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think everybody else is almost replacement level. Sure, on the margins, would I rather have one over another? Yeah. Would I rather have Justin over Gabe? Probably. But do I think that's a win or lose decision? No. So I think that once the first 3 or 4 people are off the board, I think the winners, first, second, and third place is already locked in. And again, unless the whole show, the whole cast demonstrates an ability to actually make some strategic decisions here in the few weeks before the final. But that sort of remains to be seen from the season.
Yeah. No, I think that's totally fair.
All right. Should we get to the daily?
If we could call it that. Yeah, let's get to the daily right after this. Okay. The daily. Daily this week is called, as TJ points out, it's the mini final. It's called Broken Dreams. Everyone individually is going to run out running 6 miles, climbing as high as I think it was 7,000 feet, doing 5 checkpoints.
Wait, it was called Broken Dreams?
It was called Broken Dreams. Very aptly
Why was
named.
it called Broken Dreams?
Because that's what this mini final was going to leave everyone with, as TJ said. And that was just the people, not even the audience themselves. 5 checkpoints along the way. And the key thing that I don't think we even thought was a possibility coming into this daily, but no elimination this week. There's winners, but it's just for point totals, just to lock in what the final point total would be. And the added plus for this week was the point totals for this daily were 1.5x. So 12 points instead of 8 for the first place winner, and then 1.5x down the line.
Yeah, I actually liked that modification. I mean, I feel like usually in the challenge it'd be and actually this entire challenge is the only thing that's going to determine it. But I liked the little bump, one, because I think this is worth being bumped for. You're playing individually, Theo won't be held back by his partner, so he should get a little bit more of a reward. And the way the points were coming into this, 1.5 times would actually make a good bit of difference but not too much of a difference in the end result. So I thought that was actually right on target.
Yeah, I like that. Even also just the fact that by doing 1.5, you're adding I don't know if this is kind of what you meant, but you're adding half point totals. So it would be easier to break ties if people were ending up being tied. So theoretically, that was going to be a big plus. Obviously, this daily did not go as planned. They certainly didn't cut it for time based off the end result. We got to see, as if this was the final, we got to see every part of this daily. And then this was I think this was teased in the opening trailer. TJ talking about how much he hates cheaters. And this is where we see it play out in one of the checkpoints. The eating portion of the checkpoint, people had to eat peppers and onions and something else. And people just chose not to. They took a bite, tossed to the side, like they're in first grade, wanting to move on to dessert, moved it away, and then just kept on going. And theoretically, I guess kind of the entire cast just cheated outside of Derek and America. I mean, those are the only 2 people that were sucked it up and ate the whole thing.
Yeah. So my first reaction to seeing this play, it was onions, garlic, ginger, and chili peppers. And I was just I understand the move to a vegetarian vegan option that will not insult a culture of people who eat whatever food item is going to be placed under here in the ordinary course, and all the Americans are like, ew, ew. So I'm fine with the move to onions and peppers. But like, I don't need a buffet of random spicy foods where I'm gonna have to watch them eat for 100 hours.
Right.
Give them 2 like wickedly hot peppers that are like one biters, and then they're really suffering on the run. That's kind of the point of it. So even before I found out the cheating, I was like, we need to walk this back. That point is even more solidified by the fact that an unknown number of people cheated. Now, it's interesting because they claim they have a ton of footage. I don't understand why they wouldn't have a ton of footage of people cheating. They only show us D throwing a piece of the onion,
Right.
but they do cut to full onions. It's like holes, like the amount of onions that were found, and chili peppers in the bushes, like whatever. But what really kind of irritated me the most is the way that Jonna and Nani and even like CT like were talking about the cheating afterwards, after Will like calls out that he's pissed about it. Like, you tell me, the vets kind of made it seem like this is sort of what we do. Like, this is what happens here. And we happen to get this time caught this time now because you guys like narked while you were suffering. I think that's even worse. Like, why did that make the edit?
Yeah, that was one of my 2 main takeaways, because my first main takeaway was it felt like the show was trying to clown the people for cheating, but I think they clown themselves. Like, you have a whole staff of people who I would imagine are like a number of people are just like parked at a station because they're not running the final with them. So like, you have people at checkpoint 1, checkpoint 2, check my puzzle, am I good to go? Check the eating. There's like, this is on production more than, as the cast points out, like they're trying to get an edge any way they can. I know this is not the final and it's not for the 7 or all the money at the point, but this is to help set them up. So they're going to do what they can to try to put themselves over the top. This is on production. I'm sorry. If it was this many people cheating, how did they not call it out? Hey, there's an apple here. You can't go. Hey, or not an apple, whatever. Tomato, pepper, whatever. You can't go. An onion here. People are checked for their eating all the time. How are they not seeing the food there? So I think, number one, this is like they're trying to like spin zone this and like, oh, look at all these cheating people. Yeah, it is very much on production. But then, as you point out, I can't believe they left in like, so are all challenge eating things like this preposterously bad? Like, justice for Jay. Like, he was the one who actually tried to do it and he got clowned. Maybe everyone else was just like taking a sip and just like chucking the rest of the bottles to the side. Like, I couldn't believe they were including that. And then I felt gaslight for Will. He's like, I think he's like, it's like the meme of like the guy standing up in front of people. Like, I think cheating is bad. And everyone's like, no, boo, tomato, tomato, tomato. Cheating's good. I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. So this is on production for making, they should have caught this. But then it's on the cast for making it, blaming Will for saying cheating is bad. And then it's on the entire history of the show that this has been going on forever.
Yeah, justice for Jay. I'm like, justice for Angela on USA versus the CBS World, whatever, when she just decides to go to sleep and not complete a challenge and gets eliminated from the final. I think everybody who cheated should have been eliminated. Like, I don't care if it's 50 people. Get them out. Like, cancel the show.
I don't know. You got Jonna to fly in other people. Come on, Zach, you're getting your call back. Come fly in. So there's half the second part of the season. Get everyone back. I don't care.
The final is Derek K versus America versus Leroy versus CT. No, I mean, I agree. Yeah, that was one of my first thoughts too with production, is like, usually it's like a famous image. I think that used to happen in the challenge too, but certainly in Survivor, like the people with their tongue out to like reveal that they finished everything. Yes. God, what was the show I just watched? Was it X's 2 or 3 where the Are You the One people, it's like Brittany and Adam in an eating challenge versus John and Simone. And like, they're eating and, well, none of them finish eating pretty much anything, but like they're there verifying it.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's really insane that they just had to pull an entire mulligan. I don't even know if we said that, right? They end up canceling the result of the challenge, which this is also where my stats will come in. didn't really impact any outcome besides the Olivia, Jeremy, and Will situation. But which is honestly probably why the cast is like tomato, tomato at Will, because he only cares because it impacted him marginally.
Right.
But I don't care. I was infuriated. And if I were Will, I'd be 10 times more infuriated.
That's almost like my biggest thing. Is like I don't like if they canceled like this daily was so inconsequential. Like everything was set up, like nothing was happening. If this was like a purge, like I've been so much more mad at other production related disasters and dailies, eliminations, and finals. Like go back to the freaking CBS one. Like that was much more of a train wreck than anything that happened here. This was just like just cut it. Like let them talk about this in the post show. Like, oh my god, why did they? We did a whole daily right before the freaking the lock-in. Just cut the whole episode, cut the whole scene. Just have it go straight from all right. Pick your partners and just like don't even show this daily. I don't like who cares at this point, and just let this be like some myth that is talked about on the show because it makes everyone look so bad. So yeah, it's just so
That's a good point.
Like just get rid of the whole thing.
The other thing I thought was funny about Will too is like this is objectively cheating. When CT later says like I gave Will the answer to one of the puzzles. So Will's out here acting like he's entitled to his second place finish for the rookie men.
Mm-hmm.
But he would not have had that finish without my help. It's like, well, that's not cheating. Right. That's your choice. That's a social decision. You disadvantage yourself by advantaging one of your competitors. And like you're hoping for quid pro quo. Mm-hmm. That's not this. But it did make Will look like honk honk, a little bit of a clown when CT points that out.
It did, but it's also like it's not the same thing. Like that's like he's being gaslit.
100%.
Like he's being gaslit by Nani, like being like, oh, this is like that big a thing, and then CT's like, yeah, that's not cheat. Like that's like, I think didn't CT have a confessional be like, yeah, I'm gonna help Will because I think he can help me along the way. So that's not cheating. Like
right.
What you tossing away an onion? Like what? There's no like, oh, hopefully I'm gonna toss away the onion. So hopefully production makes me look better in the edit. Like what's there's no like that's just cheating. So yeah, I felt so bad for Will. Like now I'm rethinking his whole thing with D. Maybe D was like blowing it out of proportion. I don't know. I'm justice for Will. No,
that's crazy. I mean that's
justice
crazy.
For Will.
Will is too unlikable the entire episode. Besides that one moment that like my thoughts have not changed, but I happen to agree with him in this respect. The other thing is, and we've talked about this before when it comes to like Jay, I mean, the challenge eating rules have evolved from like you used to not be able to like throw up on at least Survivor. I feel like the challenge was like that too. Now we see people constantly because they like the edit of the puke montage, which I honestly can't stand. And here to get the puke montage and not have the challenge matter is like a slap back and forth, like insult to injury. But like we've watched people put things just gently into their mouth, barely, and throw it up, quote unquote, and that be considered not cheating. I do wonder what the impact of this will be on future eating challenges. If they just A, won't have them, B, will be more careful about having like production man-to-man watching people, if the rope rules will be different. But if they're going to botch it like this, I'd rather just, I don't care about the eating challenge. Just don't even have it.
No one, the only people that like it are the people that enjoy on the editing staff that enjoy the puking montage. Everyone else looks away, is grotesque by it. Like that, you could say like, oh, just do like a liquid thing. But then I remember on I think it was All Stars, people were trying to drink the whole thing, but there was always a little bit of liquid at the bottom because you can't like slurp it all up. So it's like what amount of liquid is like enough to be done. Like if it's anything, just have it be like they've done like shot glasses in the packs. Just have it be like something like that, or just cut it. Like who cares? No one needs to see them eat. No one needs to see. They're gonna puke anyway. They're gonna be running like 50 miles in like a day, so they're gonna puke from exhaustion and all that stuff. If you want to get the montage, you don't need to see them eat and do all this stuff. Like it just adds such a. There's already enough complicated things with all these games that they're creating. They don't need another one that is so self-inflicted, like the eating and drinking and all this one is.
What do you think about this? So, like, let's say, I mean, Sydney admits to cheating, and honestly, the funniest way of all time, where she's like, barely cheated. I ate like 95%. Like, Jonna, in like kind of, no offense, an annoying way, sorry to Jonna, like acts as though she's the only one who cheated. I'm pretty sure like Jonna cheated after seeing everybody else cheated, and in front of the other non-cheaties was like, I'm gonna cheat and just I don't care what happens. Like she cheated smart. she doesn't need to go on an apology tour about her cheating. That was like honestly annoying. It's like the person who reminds the teacher there's homework. Like, we're not worried about you, Jonna. You were in the back. You have 3 points. Like, don't worry about it.
Right.
But let's say they disqualified everybody. Let's say they had the footage. They disqualified everyone who cheated. Sydney, you know, Jonna, seemingly Nani, like all of those people out in front. Seems like CT didn't cheat. I would have thought Turbo wouldn't cheat until he was so annoyed at Will for narking that I was like, maybe Turbo did cheat. Where's your honor now? All's to say, let's say like only the back like 5 people in CT didn't cheat.
Yep.
I think the problem that I'm having, and as I go forward and defend production when everyone's like, oh, they changed the elimination because they wanted CT to stay, or they changed this because they wanted this to happen. How do we defend that anymore when presumably I'm here sitting, they didn't disqualify the top 15 competitors because it would have made a distinction for some of the picks moving forward in the teams. And they didn't want to have teams where Sydney was with a shitty male competitor. They want Sydney and Turbo to be together. They want Olivia to have a strong partner. They want these performers to perform. And in doing a decision like this, to scrap an entire challenge and waste all of our time to protect the 15 best finishers, my tinfoil hat's on. Like, I don't know how to like move forward defending this. Like, I think they should have had Derek K be the winner and get 12 points and on the way down.
Yeah, they easily could have, because it wasn't even like, oh, how do we figure out which of the 15 people go straight into elimination? It's like, oh, who cheated the least? That person, or who cheated the most? That person goes directly in. Like, they don't even have to worry about that. This was a carefree. There's no real winner. There's no real loser to go in. It's just a point thing. So it was right there for them just to DQ everyone, which makes me think maybe they really just don't. It's unclear. Like to their like Sydney's point, are we gonna ding someone completely for tossing away the last quarter bit of one, and also someone's full one? Did we ding them also? Like, I think they just like couldn't figure out on the fly like how exactly did this DQ all these people. So they're just like, let's just go home.
I don't know if America wins. America's at 22 points. If she gets 12 points, she's at 34 points. And let's say Will didn't cheat, allegedly. She's after Michaela with the second pick. She is the first overall pick for the rookie women. I think it's much more of a decision of like, that ruins the show from their perspective to have a bottom finisher suddenly become the first pick overall. And they're unwilling to like have that happen. I'm not saying I wouldn't make the same decision if I were in production, because that would be crazy, but it'd get press. Like, people would be tweeting about, I mean, like, people would be talking about this if 15 people were disqualified in a challenge on the challenge.
Well, I would assume people are going to talk about this. Like, I don't know. I mean,
challenge people. No one who doesn't watch the show is going to care about this.
Do you think 15 people? I don't think anything would make it like national news. It's a middle season episode of the challenge, but like, I think it's more notable that the challenge went an episode canceling a daily completely than having a daily where 2/3 of the cast DQs for cheating.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think DQing 2/3 of the cast is bigger news than the challenge yada yada is an inconsequential challenge. But fair enough. Maybe no one cares about any of it, and we just care because
I think that's probably the top option for sure.
All right, let's take a look at the results. Okay, hold on. Bring my slideshow in.
Oh, I totally forgot about this. Okay, good. Bring this in. Add the stage.
Okay, so I put some facts together. There's a disclaimer for the audio listeners. If this is wrong, I don't care. Like, don't say anything. I don't care.
To be fair, the disclaimer says that if it's wrong, don't at me.
Yeah, so. But you can't at me because you don't follow me anywhere. So just like, don't put anything anywhere. So, and there's no key because you can't screenshot this without the key. I'm the key. No, I just got lazy. So this is showing the final results that obviously were wiped. But I thought this was interesting because the lime green, obviously this is separated by gender. The lime green are the male vets.
Yeah.
And the light blue are the male newts. The red is the female vets. The pink is the female newts. And like, it is so interesting that like we're constantly saying the veteran men are the worst. But when you think like, I do value the results of the mini final. I'd be very interested, and I think we've speculated this before, to see like how the mini final correlates to actual final positioning. But there really is a spread where like the middle of the pack are actually the Newt men and the veteran women, and the like highest highs and the lowest lows on both sides are the veteran men and the Newt women.
Yeah, a couple things. First, the BCP, bringing that back, the Brian Color report. I gotta ding you for the very similar purple and red on the women's side. It blends together for us near colorblind people. They look similar. So
Well,
the
I'm the
BCP,
key. I'm the key.
you're the key. I will
And if you
say,
want to know how my brain works, it's like pink is like less developed newt, like lighter newt women, and then it gets red for the veteran women. So this is for me. Like I said, don't at me. If the coloring's wrong, I don't care. Where's your chart, Brian's color report?
It's not here. It is interesting. The other note about the vet men sucking is the other people that may have, the people that have went home, honestly, probably like the vet men, this was set up for them to do the best. So like I think if those vet men were still here, like Bananas and Derek C, like this is where they would thrive more. So you'd almost see them even more on top of like probably beating people like Gabe and Justin and maybe even Cedric. So yeah, it is interesting to see it all laid out with the vet men, how it's distributed.
But then I wanted to see how this would have changed it. How's that, by the way?
This is great.
For contrast.
This is great.
So as you can see, the only impact in like, so I have it set up of like the order of male newts and female vets and what the picking order would be, right? To me, the only real change that occurs is Will would have had the first pick overall. We don't have any edit that suggests that Will would have picked Michaela. The real dispute, the newt dispute that we got in the edit, is between Jeremy and Will over Aviv. Otherwise, no change really in the outcome if they have the mini final or they don't.
Yeah, so if Will is the first pick, he would have picked Aviv instead
so he
says, instead of ending up with Olivia. It's interesting.
And Olivia and Michaela both apparently wanted Cedric. So I don't know who Olivia goes to third. I guess Leo. But honestly, maybe Olivia would have picked Jeremy if he was available, which he would have been with the mini final results.
It's tough because obviously this is like, you know, we're seeing the result, the edited show of without the mini final, without the pick. So like if the mini final played out like this, it's kind of like the butterfly effect. Like the editing for leading up to all this could be different with different professionals included. So it would have made more sense that the pairs would have ended up the way they did. So it's tough to be like, oh, that would have came out of nowhere, but then it probably wouldn't have come out of nowhere if it was going to play out like that.
Right, 100%. Then let's just look at the women. So here, the Adrian jumps up in her picking order without the mini final. She would have been below CT and Turbo before if the mini final counted.
Right.
But again, it's like Sydney would have picked Turbo first overall for the Newt women.
Yeah.
I don't think Adrian wanted CT. So I don't really think a big change here. And then America ends up getting a higher pick over D. So maybe D would have picked Leroy. I don't know. Like, I think that maybe would have been different because we do have Derek K and, you know, react pretty negatively to getting D as a partner. Yeah, but again, I think on the margins between Derek K and Leroy, it's 6-1.
Yeah, I think we could take, we have two contenders of like the most bizarre confessionals of the entire season. There was Michaela like crashing out about Kara during the roast about she doesn't know what the game is all about. That was bizarre. And then it was Derek K acting like him being paired with D is like the Capulets and the Montagues being paired together. Like I can't recall any reason why these two hate each other, but apparently Derek despises D and is like, we hate each other, but now we have to work together. Oh my God. Like Since when? What was that? When was that a thing?
It was giving the hand of production, like Derek being prompted to like say something because, Dee makes a speech when she picks him, essentially by default, and is like, he's a family man, he's a great veteran, so I'm picking Derek K and I'm excited to have him. And he's like, I'm so shocked, like why she said that. It's like the only things people know about Derek K are he has kids and he has a podcast. And Dee honestly might not even know the podcast part about it.
Probably
So
not,
like,
no.
it's like, come on, Derek. Obviously, she's just like being nice. And I think Derek knows that. Like, that's why it felt so very
So
like
bizarre.
production coded.
Yeah, it was just such a bizarre reaction. And I don't know. I think they're a pretty strong pair. Like they're both very strong. So I think they probably do. They probably don't complement each other pretty well. Like I think they have like very similar strengths. But I don't know. It's not. Again, it was just very odd to see how much Derek seemingly hates Dee.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, this is all right. This is for later, so you could drop this down.
Okay.
So yeah, one thing, getting into the points with the numbers, which I really haven't done up until now, it did make me see like, oh, I don't know that I was like high enough on Adrian's performance for her to be like in the top contenders.
That stood out. Like going back to her, like episode 1 with like the foot incident with Rogan, and it's like Rogan's like stuck with her, and like the foot was bringing them down, and now Rogan goes home. Yeah, Adrian has not had much of a storyline really at all. Kind of since then, she's kind of just been like a little floating around, but all of a sudden, yeah, she was right up there near the top of best kind of consistent performers. I don't recall like if it's been like partner lock in that regard, because I don't recall her doing like individually super well. Nothing like stands out, but she must have done decently well through the season because she's racked up a good amount of points. But she's really stayed out of the conversation for elimination stuff. So it's been a very like quiet, which is not necessarily good for her long standing, but for this individual season, it's been a very good performance from her.
You know what's interesting as I look back on her history is she has 4 challenges where she got 7 points. So she's come in second place half the challenges before the mini final, and she's gotten 0s on the other 4. So like it is interesting to see, and we'll talk about it when we look at the tiebreaker between Will, Olivia, and Jeremy. I think that like shows it more. Like you could have a lot of points because you were consistently in the middle of the top 8, which is still like top 4 or 5, 3, 4, 5. Or you could have had a few like show out challenges and be dead last and be really inconsistent and still have a lot of points. So Adrian is in the more inconsistent point getter category.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the tiebreaker because so TJ, he explains the tiebreaker of like how they're breaking the ties. And again, maybe my brain's just not working properly, but I think he basically says like whoever's done better through the 8 prior dailies gets the tiebreaker.
Please bring in my slideshow.
Okay, please.
Because I broke this down.
I don't understand what he was trying to say because I thought, doesn't that just mean they have like whoever has more points? But that's what the point is. So I was confused with what he was talking about.
So I don't know what he was talking about, but here's my theory. So what I have for the podcast listeners, please don't go to YouTube. Go to the Facebook group. Maybe I'll put the slides there. No, just kidding. You look it up on YouTube. So I thought he was saying who performed the best in the most dailies. So like if out of the 3 of them, you came in a higher position, you would get credit for doing that the most times.
But isn't that what the points do? Doesn't that, like, if you add that together, doesn't that?
But no, because you could win by 1 position and then you'd only have 1 more point, or you could win by you came in first and they didn't place at all, and then you'd have 8 points more than them. So it's not having the most points because they all total to the same points.
Oh, so
it's having the placement.
So it's basically extending the point totals from 8 to 0 to like 15 to 1.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but it's like if you came in second place and Will came in third place, you get 1 point in the tie-breaking total. So like here, look, as you can see on my chart. Can you see my mouse when I'm here? Is this working?
I don't see a mouse.
Okay, fabulous. So that doesn't help. So in week 1, Will got 4 points, Jeremy got 7 points, Olivia got 5 points. I'm categorizing this as Jeremy getting gold, Olivia getting silver, Will getting bronze. So Jeremy came in a higher position, a higher finish than Will and Olivia 4 times. Olivia and Will each only came in the highest position of the 3 times each. And then Olivia came in a higher position than Will 3 additional times. So Jeremy goes through with the best like finishes across 8 challenges. Then Olivia, because she has the most first places and then the most second places, and then Will. I don't know if this is how they actually did it, but this is what makes sense to me from what TJ said.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, 'cause I still, in my head, I thought what he was basically saying was whoever like has the highest finish, like whoever has won a daily is like the trump card, or if no one's won a daily, then it's second. But so this makes more sense because he was talking about all 8 dailies. So this makes more sense to me because what he said did not make what he said. I thought it was explaining the format of the entire season. So this makes more sense.
He said who placed the highest the most. So like as compared to each other, not, I mean,
sure.
If there was another way to do it, I'm happy to.
No, this makes the most sense. So this looks great.
So Jeremy ends up getting the first pick overall over the 3 of them, which like I was fine with this. Like if this is how they did it, okay. Like it makes, again, Will's pissed about it, but like I don't think he can really be pissed about this. It seems pretty fair.
I agree. It does kind of stink for Will that like it's kind of like, you know, double whammy. It's like he could have jumped ahead of them by doing better in the mini final, and then he also could have jumped ahead of them with his tiebreaker, and both things went against him. So kind of sucks.
But like, I think I'd rather have Olivia as a partner than Aviv. Like again, it's like either of them can win, but depends on the day, depends on the final and the format and whatever. But like, you know, maybe because Olivia is less connected in the house than Aviv seems to be, you know, depending on like how things go going forward. But like for the final, Olivia's an excellent partner.
Yeah, it's really half of one, what was half of one, 6 dozen of the other, or whatever it is, 6 of one, whatever it is. They're very similar. Like you could easily see a scenario where Olivia goes on with Will and wins a final. You could see a scenario where Aviv goes on to win a final with Will. Like it's not, you're splitting hairs, and it's kind of just however the cookie crumbles with what the checkpoints are and things like that. So Olivia and Aviv are very similar.
So let's talk about how the partners end up shaking out. You pointed this out already with CT, but what I love about what we've been told so far is like these are going to be your partners through the rest of the game. I did watch the few in the rest of the season on the challenge, and there seems to be like an opportunity maybe to quote stake a claim on another partner. So we'll see how that possible switch works out. But for now, I love that they're changing halfway through. They're being told to a degree, this will be your partner for the long haul. You will be eliminated with this partner. No hangnail, hanging chad, whatever. So I think it's really interesting to see they're not just picking for the final, but they're picking based on experience, having been paired with everyone at least once, based on the social dynamics they've seen in the house, based on the alliances they've made with this person or not with this person. It became very interesting to me to see like how the selections actually got made, and not just like, oh, this person I want to run a final with.
Yeah, and to your point, I'm glad they didn't do this so close to the final where you're just picking. Like this is legitimately could be the start of a season. There's 12 pairs. Like that would not be that crazy for a reality TV show competition of 12 people, teams, or whatever to start. Like that's
like All Stars, yeah.
Right. So like here we are, gonna start with episode 10, with basically the start of a season. So you not only have to pick someone for the final, but you have to theoretically get through at least 7, but probably 8 eliminations until you get to the final. So there's a lot of room to go. You can't just be thinking about who's best in the final. You got to think about social connections and eliminations and things like that. So you're basically picking a partner for a fresh season.
So let's talk about the picks. Michaela picking Cedric is like, at first I was like shocked that like Cedric wouldn't be my first pick overall. Like I'd probably have wanted to pick Jeremy, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much Michaela really knows about Jeremy's connection socially, right? Because Michaela's not super privy to the Tarzan and Jane's alliance. But, Cedric is a perfectly complimentary pick for Michaela, because Michaela wants to like not make waves, go with the house, like kind of be more stealth. Cedric is very just well liked and kind of neutral and a good competitor. So like they are to me like a vibes match more than she picked like the best overall competitor.
It is amazing to see Cedric as the top pick. Because like coming into the season, I see Cedric's name on the list. Like, oh, he could be a fun social player. I thought he'd be more skewed toward like with the Derek C type player, like a social guy, build alliances, build friendships, and people want to work with him for that regard. Not as like this dynamic competitor. And the thing, like, I do think Cedric's probably good again for like the end game, but when you're looking about the guys who are left, and I know Michaela could try to outsway that for herself with her physical stature, but if you get anything that's what based off what we've seen with some of these other eliminations, like Cedric having to go against a Jeremy, a Will, a Turbo, Jay, like he's just so out muscled in those regards. Now, again, Michaela could try to balance that out, but that's that's a risk. Like it could go bad very quickly in elimination for them.
No, totally. I mean, maybe Michaela is hoping for a more sort of Survivor style game where they start looking post merge at the threats to win, and then maybe they put Michaela and Cedric more under the radar. But again, like I don't know that that's going to play out the way she maybe hopes. Actually, sorry, throw up my last slide while we're here.
Oh, okay.
It might be helpful to talk through while we're here. So we'll talk through the order that they actually pick. This is the order of the pairs by how many team points they have. So if you took one person's points and their partner's points and you added it together, like again, if we assume that the performance points are any indication about challenge daily performance and final performance, maybe less so elimination performance. Although actually elimination winners get 2 more points. So like maybe it does in some way factor that in. Presumably, I thought this might be an interesting metric to sort of predict the performance of the teams. So Cedric and Michaela stay first overall. Cedric is not that far off the top point getters for the men, but 3 points. So they right now are the heaviest hitters, which again, like not what I would have predicted if I wasn't like really paying attention to the points.
Yeah, and even kind of checked. I think what was it? Michaela, I think had the confessionals like post episode 0, where everyone's like, "Oh, I want to be with Jeremy. I want to be with Jeremy." I think she's like, "I don't want to be with Jeremy because that's like too big of a target on my back." So at least her thinkings land up since the jump.
Totally. So speaking of Jeremy, he goes next. He picks Aviv, which like they had an early connection established early on. Kudos to the edit. Maybe Aviv being a little bit overvalued here. Again, I think for her like social connections and like, again, kind of matching a similar vibe wavelength as Jeremy versus like an Olivia. Like the pick kind of makes sense from just a team morale standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at like the vet women, I think Aviv is unless you're doing the Michaela Olivia route, which it seems like Jeremy didn't want to do, at least Olivia. Yeah, I think Aviv is probably the best pick there. So I think she's very well insulated with that whole other vet women crew. We got Jeremy's got the Angels or the Janes going on. So yeah, I think it makes complete sense.
Olivia picks Will. First of all, I have to say I love Nani's conversation with Olivia, like all but saying I don't want to work with Will. She's like, just do what's best for your game. Don't even think about me. And then she goes to Leo and Justin. It's like, if I'm on that bridge, please pick me. Like she does not want to be with Will. And I think honestly, if Will and Nani stay connected, Will is like the Teflon crazy man. Cause like he's wiling out at Bananas and D. He's wiling out about the cheating, though he's pretty justified in doing that. And like everyone wakes up the next day and declares it a blank slate. So assuming Will can continue to be well liked in the house and him and Nani continue to hook up, it's a great pick for Olivia because she is kind of on the outs with the veteran women. So picking the rookie man that's hooking up with one of them, I think good pick for her.
Yeah, I mean, look, for Olivia now, she has like the Will to Nani hookup connection and like her to Theo to Adrian like hookup, like obviously her and Theo hookup connection. So, she's got a little bit of like a romantic 3-pair grouping where she's got some protection if any of those people try to win.
And then Sydney picks Turbo. I mean, they're like the ones to beat, I think, at being positioned. Yeah. Now they're Team Chaos for sure. Like the irony of Turbo saying that Sydney has to focus her mouth and it be true, like is quite amazing. I think Turbo has really met his match in Sydney, and I don't see who could take them out. Like anything can happen, but I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of Sydney and Turbo.
Yeah, I mean, they're clearly the people that it's like, all right, if anyone's talking about a big shot, like it's going to be like, do we take the shot at City and Turbo? Like, who do we get them to go in against? How do we maneuver this to get someone to knock out City and Turbo? Like, that's going to be the main focus for, I would think, everyone basically at this point.
Another kind of surprise in terms of point getters, like, color me Ashley, but Aneesa, making the 5th pick overall, because, some of the other higher point getters were picked already, but still, Aneesa picks Jake. And I'm honestly really happy for Aneesa because I think, like, she can get stuck with a partner who's, pretty down on her. And we saw Jake stick up for her in the Aneesa, in the Ashley fight. And Jake seems happy to be with Aneesa. And I think they're going to be a really fun pair.
Yeah, like you could make the argument that maybe Leo as a competitor might be better than Jake, but I think as a duo they would have been an absolute disaster. And I think for Anissa, she needs someone like she tried to go down the Jordan route, right? And like that didn't work. So she needs someone who's going to be much more supportive and like building her up and go down that route. So I think in that realm, Jake is a much better pick for her.
Yeah, and if you went pure morale, I mean, hard to find a more uplifting person than Justin. But yeah, I think Jake is a better overall pick for Aneesa. And then the pick I'm most critical of is the next pick, where Adrian picks Theo.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously from what we've seen from Theo, competitive wise, not much, but. And she didn't say this, but what's surprising is I would think if you're picking Theo, it's because you want like the Olivia protection and who she comes with. And now like Olivia is with Will, so that would come with Nani. So like by picking Theo, even more so because I think Olivia and Will be more of a threat for people to come after them. But for Adrian, she now has the protection from like a couple other teams like in her realm. And I wish that was more of the focus for her if she explained that rather than just like picking Theo as a competitor. Because I think Theo is a well protected person now. So I think that could have been more of the focus if she wanted to make it so.
I don't know, because like I felt like this pick was more like a lot of people did a lot of work this whole episode, right? We see like CT asking Tay to prom, asking to be his partner. That was really cute. We see Leroy and America like lock in. So I don't know. Like I think part of it is like people wanted their partner to be happy to be chosen.
Yeah.
And maybe Adrian felt like if I pick Leroy or CT, they'll be upset to be chosen. But the reason I'm critical of the pick is like Theo says they're not connected whatsoever, so it'll be good. Adrian's in their alliance already. Like I thought Adrian, now maybe it's a little bit looser, but like the way that the edit's been presented to us is Adrian, Theo, Jake, though Jake doubles on both sides with Leo, Tay, Izzy, Olivia, we're all like together and working together. Maybe with Izzy out, Adrian and Olivia are not as connected. But to me, like Theo's somebody you're already working with. Why not branch out by picking a different, less connected veteran?
Yeah, I mean, maybe this was, seeing his performance in this like non-existent daily, like seeing, oh, like look, Theo actually is doing pretty well. Maybe it was the partners bringing Theo down, and now I'll work with him, and we'll, do pretty well together. So I don't know. Maybe that was still standing out in her mind.
Maybe. Justin picks Nani. This made sense to me. Leo picks Ashley. A very good outcome for Ashley being second to last pick. I mean, this is what we were saying with like the rookie men is like it's hard, to really get a bad draw here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, no, they didn't really work that great together. They were paired together on the Sudoku daily, right? And that like wasn't the best. So maybe they will present some fun, entertaining moments in some of these dailies. But if they can kind of channel themselves and bring out the best in both of them, there is high upside.
Yeah, totally. CT picks Tay. Nice. We already talked about that. America and Leroy. Okay. D picks Derek K, which we already talked about. This apparently a marriage made in hell. Remains to be seen. And then Gabe and Jonna. The irony that Gabe got so upset about being picked last, he ends up going last overall here in the default pairing of him and Jonna. And if you look at the point distributions, I mean, there's a pretty big drop off after Jeremy and Aviv in the top 4 teams, being Michaela, Cedric, Olivia, Will, Sydney, and Turbo, Jeremy, and Aviv.
Yeah.
Do you have a winner pick of these pairs? All of them, not just the top 4?
Yeah, I mean, the betting favorite, as we kind of discussed here, is Turbo and Sydney would be the top favorite. So they would be my first pick off the board, but I'm also like, I don't know, the CT and Tay thing is so interesting. I just think they're like a very interesting pair, and I think in a final they would do very well together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost worried that like Will could Will win, and that's why they gave him like a reasonable editor on the D thing. No. I would say like the strongest teams for me are Sydney and Turbo, Michaela and Cedric, and Jeremy and Aviv. I think Sydney and Turbo and Jeremy Aviv are locks to go to the final. And, I'll root for Sydney and Turbo for Team Chaos. I think that'd be really hilarious to see the 2 cockiest people celebrate their win at the end. And what does Turbo say? Turbo says, he wants to go to the final with Jeremy and Cedric. So I don't know.
Yeah, there was a weird bonding moment with him and Cedric at like the top of the episode too, that they kind of just like dropped it for seemingly no reason. So that, check off Cedric and Turbo relationship, but it seemed like they were trying to build something.
Yeah, so if Turbo is working with Jeremy and Cedric even more, looking at them as a strong set of 6 there. But we'll see. One thing I wanted to highlight, and you could take off my excellent side. Good job, Ali, on the slides.
Fantastic job.
I also did stop at the dinner night because I had to see what was on the menu.
Oh, please. What's the menu?
Because it was hard. They flashed it quickly because there were some translation issues on the menu.
I was in a dark place. I literally wrote in my notes like, what the hell is happening in this episode? Because this was coming off the Daily being canceled. Then we're having a dinner party. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, yeah, we got something. So I'm glad you have a menu to discuss.
Yeah, I'm the person when people like post like the place setting at a wedding in their story, I'm stopping and I'm looking what did they have at the wedding? I'm interested. So I definitely did it here. I couldn't get all the work. I had to keep stopping at different angles because they only show it for half a second. Starter was a prosciutto salad, which like I'm interested. Is it just prosciutto in a bowl? Is it leaves and prosciutto? Walnuts, cheese, and strawberry dressing, and something else. I think I had a typo, so like that's what you get. The main was confit filet with rosemary honey and late harvest, accompanied by mashed French fries and Iberian ham with shoestring fries.
What is a mashed French fry?
Yeah, I think we have just like a little translation issue. Like maybe it was mashed potatoes. I don't know.
I think it's probably mashed potatoes.
Yeah. I'm just sure you get something. And the dessert was a mini pavlova with caramel and American cream ice cream.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds decent.
Yeah.
It's probably not my favorite. I'd probably, this was a wedding. I needed the cocktail hour more before getting to that meal. So what can you do?
I love a mini pavlova. Actually, underrated pro tip. Ali pro tip. Go to weddings where you don't know anyone. Because when I went to Brian's wedding, I believe I met his wife at the wedding. So I only knew Brian and his mom. They were obviously pretty busy.
No, you met Emily before then.
Did I?
You met my mom. You met my mom at the wedding. Yeah, because there would been like a know-it-all or two.
Okay, well, I didn't know either way. Even if I was best friends with Emily, you can't rely on the bride at the cocktail hour. So, Ali pro tip: go to weddings where you don't know anyone. All you do is eat. You don't have to talk to anyone. So you really crush it at the cocktail hour.
They quite literally made a whole movie about that. So.
Well, what? No, but like where you're invited. All right. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Oh, I wanted to say one more thing. I think Will is, no matter what happens from here on out, put Will at the top of my list no matter what as number one Newt who's likely to get invited back.
Oh, do we have a Newt of the week? Because I think it's got to be Will, right?
But like for what? For like getting screwed, being the only person actually screwed, and then poisoning his social game.
Yeah, but standing up to the non-cheaters, standing up for them.
But like at his own expense, like we're out here supposed to say like, if you get blindsided, you have to come back and pretend you're not mad at everyone. Like he got blindsided by production, and he came back and yelled at everybody.
Don't we all? Yeah, I don't know who else would be on the board. I mean,
Sydney was just
Sydney,
it,
I guess.
right? I think so. Yeah.
I guess Sydney getting Turbo as a partner kind of makes her the Newt.
Cedric being like first pick, first Newt overall, most valuable Newt. Maybe it's Will because I said like after this episode, he to me is the number one Newt overall likely to come back. So if you want to give it to him for justice, and I want to give it to him for tanking his game so badly that he'll be invited back automatically.
Right. There you go.
Right, I guess it's Will.
All right. Congrats to Will. Newt of the week. And what was the other one? The Mute? Give it to production?
I think I also give it to Will.
Give it to Will also. All right. The double dip. It's a rare one. He's a two-way player. Joey Antoni of the challenge. All right. You can subscribe at rapperswebsite.com/challenge feed. Follow me on Twitter, Cohen_Brown_. You can follow you.
Follow me nowhere. Check me out here. Check us out in the Facebook group. Check out, I'm wearing my 1 of 1 NGOG shirt. A lot of visual aids today.
Yeah, it's a big YouTube episode.
Yeah, check out News Girl Old Guy. Checking out the paper. We're going to hit 4 weeks in a row.
Wow.
Unprecedented for...
Some are saying it wasn't just New Girl. Now it's the other show. You do this one every week.
Yeah, I think it's more like it's a momentum thing. Like if you miss one, like you'll never be back.
The whole season's out, right? Of the paper.
Yeah, the whole season's out. But we are covering episode 4 this week.
We'll be back covering episode 10. It's kind of fun that it's episode 10. It's kind of like episode 1. It's like 1-0, but like 1 of like a new season kind of. That's
especially because episode 1 of the challenge wasn't even episode 1.
That's
but
true.
Here's a question. How long is this going to go?
It's a great question. So I think that I did the math. There were 12 teams.
Bring back my slide. No, I'm just kidding. It was secret slide.
So I say we got to cut at least 7, right? So that's 10 to 16. So that's 16 episodes. Maybe 17. We get down to 1 more. 18. It's like 18, 19 episodes. That's a typical challenge season. There we go. See you. What's that? In 2 months? That's another 2 months. End of like around beginning of December. They skip Thanksgiving, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. We'll be at the same time for the challenge finale. Here we go. I mean, the Survivor finale. All right. We'll be back next week, episode 10. Till then, have a good one.